Okay, here we go with our last two problems that I'm going to work out from the study guide. So this one is one of your favorites. It's a word problem. So number 17, two observers are standing on shore half a mile apart at points A and B and measure the angle of a sailboat to a sailboat at a point C at the same time. Angle A is 63 degrees and angle B is 56 degrees. Find the distance from each observer to the sailboat. Okay, so this picture, as we draw it, we've got two people. They're at points A and B, and they tell us that there's half a mile between them. And they're looking out here at the sailboat. You can draw yourself a cute little, that was not a cute little sailboat, but you can draw yourself a cute little one if you'd like to. Sailboat out here, and this is at point C. So completing that triangle, they tell us that angle A is 63 degrees and that angle B is 56 degrees. Okay? And they ask us to find the distance from each observer to the sailboat. So this means we need to find this distance. I'm going to label it X, as well as the one over here, which I'm going to label Y. Okay, so to find those distances, this is going to be one of our either law of sines, LOS, or law of cosines, okay? Remember, we can use law of sines if we have some pieces that match together. So like this 63 right here would match with the Y. We don't know what Y is, so we need like a complete pair. The 56 would match with the X, but once again, that's not a complete pair. The 1/2 mile would match together with this angle C, but the problem there is that I don't know what that angle C is. Hopefully right now you're thinking that you can actually find angle C because we have the other two angles of the triangle. So we're going to do 180 minus that 63 and minus the 56. That's going to give us our angle C. So 180 minus 63 minus 56. We get 61 degrees. So that's what's going to go right here. And this allows us to use law of sines because I do have those pieces that match together. So now I'm going to set up law of sines. Sine of 61 over, and I'm going to make it a decimal, 0.5, which is the same thing as 1/2, equals sine of, and so let's start with, since I have it highlighted, A, 63, and the Y. So sine of 63 over Y. We're not worried about the X right now. We're going to set up another equation in a minute that's going to let us solve for X. Okay, so we're going to cross multiply. We get Y times sine of 61 equals 0.5 sine of 63. And then I need to divide by sine of 61. And that tells me that Y equals, and let's see here, 0.5 sine of 63. Make sure you close that parentheses after you type in the 63. Divided by sine of 61. We get 0.509, 509. And we're going to go to 3 decimal places, so I'll just stop right there. This is the end of finding that length, so no need to go to extra decimal places. Our units here are miles. So there's one of our answers. That's the distance from point B to the sailboat. And now I just want to set up law of sines one more time in order to find this X over here, the distance from A to the sailboat. So to set up, I'm going to say, once again, sine of 61 over 0.5. Those are the pieces that match together, that I have both pieces. I chose to use that instead of using like 63 and Y because the Y is what I just found, and I could have made a mistake when I found that. So I'm going to stick with the ones that they gave me that I'm pretty sure are correct. I'm hoping I didn't make a mistake when I subtracted and found 61. So I'm going to stick with those two. And I don't have a rounded answer I'm working with or anything like that. So now that I'm trying to find this X, I'm going to use the 56 and then, of course, the X on the bottom. So this is going to be sine of 56 over X. The solving of this is going to be very similar. I'm going to cross multiply. So x times sine of 61 equals 0.5 sine of 56. And then I just need to divide by sine of 61. And so I get x equals, type all this in my calculator, and I should get 0.474. That's what it's going to round to. And that is miles. And you may be thinking, this is a little weird that we got such small numbers for our answers. Normally we might get something bigger like 17 or even a bigger number than that. Keep in mind though that in this problem, the unit that we started with, or the side measure that we started with, was that 1/2 of a mile. So the answers that you found are in terms of those miles. And so it kind of makes sense that since this triangle is pretty close to being equilateral would be all angles are 60, then all of those answers that we got would also be pretty close to 1/2 a mile, which they were pretty close to that. So that just kind of confirms for us that we're on the right track on number 17. So the last problem that I'm going to work out for you on the study guide is number 22. It says find the area of each triangle to the nearest tenth. And this is from the section where we had the two different formulas that we used. One of them was area equals the square root of S times S minus A, S minus B, and S minus C. And then the other one was area equals 1/2 AB sine of C. And so you will be given those two formulas on the test. The number 22 that we're looking at, let's draw the picture first, and then that'll help us know which of those two formulas to use. So as we draw the picture, label it R, S, and T. T is 6 miles. Remember, that's across from angle T. So 6 kilometers. Okay. So labeling that on the triangle. And then S is 14 kilometers. So the way I have mine drawn, that would be down here at the bottom, but just needs to be across from angle S. And then angle R is 51 degrees. So of these two formulas, the first one that I gave you up here is if they give you all sides. Okay, which we obviously don't have. So we're not going to use that one for this problem. You are going to use it for some of the other problems in this section, but not for number 22. The second one is if they give you SAS, which we know stands for side, angle, side, and that's what this one would be, side, angle, side. So we're going to plug into that formula, area equals 1/2, multiply your two sides together, 6 and 14, and then it's going to be sine of your angle measure, which is the 51 degrees. So this would be 0.5 times 6 times 14, sine of 51, typing that into my calculator, and rounding to 3 decimal places, this would be 32.640. The units they gave me were kilometers, and since we're talking about area, it would be squared. Remember, anytime that they give you units, you want to make sure you include those in your answer. You will miss some points there if you don't include those units, as well as if you don't square them when we're finding area. So our final answer here is 32.640 kilometers squared. Be sure that if you do a problem like number 20, for example, where they give you all the sides, that you use this top formula instead. All right, guys, that's all the videos and worked out problems that I have for you. If you have more questions, just shoot me a text on Remind, and I'll try to answer those as best I can. Your test will be tomorrow, and so come in with your homework and study guide done and ready to turn in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.